All right, ladies and gentlemen of BRD Nation, strap in because we have a very special guest today. Longtime friend, Kolton Remund. Kolton has a rich history in door-to-door. His best summer, he went out and sold over 750 accounts. On top of selling a lot, Kolton's been a leader for many companies across the valley. And on top of that, he's a Diamond Fort Junior High alum. He's someone I met way back when in 7th grade, and it's fun to be just reconnecting with you in our industry.
Yeah.
So, Kolton, kind of hopping into it, I just kind of want to get maybe a little backstory into you, and then we'll kind of like walk forward on like how you got into sales and all the good stuff.
Yeah. First off, thanks for having me, man. Yeah. How I got into sales, I had honestly no plans of doing sales. I was big into golf. High school, I wanted to play college golf, and was trying to walk on to some UVU, Dixie, and I served a mission. And
where'd you serve?
I served in Brazil.
Oh, cool.
Santa Maria, yep. So yeah, I got back in 2017, and was trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life. So, buddy of mine, Tanner Williams, I don't know if...
shout out Tanner.
Yeah, shout out Tanner. So he married my cousin, and they'd reached out and were like, hey, dude, you want to try selling for the summer? And I was like, I kind of rejected him at first, and I was like, no, I'm going to golf. I've got like a bunch of tournaments that I got to play in. Like summer's like kind of sacred in golf because there's just so many tournaments that you can get involved with. And so I was like, yeah, I'm not doing sales. But anyway, I ended up getting, I met with junior college down in Phoenix, Arizona, and I got an offer to go play down there. But it just didn't feel right. Didn't want to be away from family. And
that's crazy, dude. You got all the way there and you're like ready to go. And
yeah,
you're just like...
I was, going all in. And then I just decided I just didn't want to do that. And so I reached back out to Tanner, and this was like a week or so before they had like left for the summer. I was like, hey, dude, you still got like a spot? And he was like, for sure. So they were selling in California. I was with Aptiv. That was the first company I sold with. So yeah, I go out. I don't know anyone.
Dude, that was your dream, though. That's just great.
I know. Yeah. I just, he had told me, I think he sold with Hawks right after his mission for like a month. He's like, dude, I only knocked for like a month or so, and I made like 10 grand. And to me at that point, like, that was a ton of money.
Yeah, you're like the Taj Mahal.
Oh, that was so much money. So I was like, man, if this golf like doesn't work out, like, dude, I could go make 10 grand in the summer. And so once I kind of like went through that thought process, I was like, all right. I just knew with like college golf, being away from family, I wouldn't have a life. I'd be super poor. And so I was like, maybe I can just try selling and see if I can make some money and kind of figure out what I want to do with my life. So yeah, sold with Aptiv. My first summer, I did like 350 accounts my rookie year. I was top rookie on the team. I think one of the top in the region. I think I was like number 2.
Was it quick for you? Like, did you feel like you got out there and just right away you were selling? Or did like...
I sucked. Yes. I still remember to this day, like, because, I had decided to sell like a week before.
Yeah.
So I had no training. I didn't even really know what pest control was. I just knew that, you go sell a bug spray and hopefully you make money, right? But yeah, I remember my first door, I went and go shadow with Bryce Farabee. I don't know if you know Bryce.
Yeah, I know Bryce. Yeah. Shout out Bryce.
I was with
dude.
Bryce, and we were out knocking, and I was watching him hit some doors, and I think they had like given me the script, and I had like read it a few times, and he's like, all right, I want you to try one. So I try one. It's this lady, I'll never forget. It's this lady like in her garage. She's just like smoking and just chilling. I'm like, all right, So I go up to her and, do the intro, and, she's like, oh, well, I already have a company. And I just blank. And I look over to Bryce, and I'm like, what do I say, dude? So, yeah, that was kind of my first experience. And, after that, I kind of I struggle, memorizing things and, picking things up at the start. So I feel like I just had to put in a lot more work than maybe other people did. After that, I kind of in the mornings that I was eating breakfast, is watching training videos, and I was constantly reading the training manual and all that stuff.
I'm the same way. I have a really tough time memorizing stuff. Once I get it down, I always tell people I'm a slow learner, but I'm a thorough learner.
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes that comes a little ADHD, a little
for sure.
But which is good in sales.
Yep. Yeah. So that's kind of how it was for me, and just kind of took off from there, and started putting up more than my managers, and just was realizing wow, I'm getting a hang of this. And once those paychecks started coming in, I was like, this is real. Another thing I'll never forget too is getting my first back end. I thought it was fake. I was like, this is a scam. It's there's no way.
Until it hits your account.
It hits your account, dude, and it feels real.
Yeah.
And I only made $70K my first summer, and I was just blown away. My first back end was $30,000. I was like, oh my gosh,
No, and that's great money. And I kind of want to ask you. I mean, Tanner Williams, Bryce. I mean, those guys are both I've heard their names multiple times, throughout the industry. Were there things that they were both good at, specifically about sales, that you picked up on, or you I absorbed that from working with him, or maybe someone else that you're this was a cool tip or trick that they taught me?
Yeah. Bryce and Tanner, they're just very personable people, homies.
Yeah.
Get along with them super well. So I just try to kind of be more like myself on the doors and not be so robotic. At the same time, I also just try to copy and paste what the top reps were doing at Aptiv at the time. One person that comes to mind is Brad Farr. I don't know. So he was kind of he was up there with Brigham Lindsey and
just a dog,
just throwing down. I ended up selling with his team my first summer, because in California you have to pass the bug test to sell there.
Right.
Failed it twice. that shows you how smart I am. And so they're like, well, we can't keep you here. So they literally shipped me midsummer.
No way,
yeah.
dude.
So I was in the Bay Area, failed the bug test twice. It's a 300, question test that you have to get 80% or something. So yeah, they shipped me out, and I go to sell it in Ohio, and it was cool because I had watched these training videos of Brad Farr. He was the top rookie the year before. So I got to be on his team, and I learned a lot from him. And I kind of just tried to, copy and paste. And I think in the month of August, my rookie year, I was the number 3 rep in the company. It was Brad Farr, Brigham Lindsey, and me.
That's amazing.
In August, so.
Well, and what was his claim to fame? Was there something you're oh, when I watched his videos, he did this really well, or that? Was there anything you can remember? Or?
I just remember he was just so smooth. His transitions were good. He just kind of always knew what to say, no matter what objection or whatever he got, he was just able to just roll right over it.
Yeah.
Very I can't think of the word right now. His tonality was just kind of the same all throughout the pitch. Not too salesy, not monotone, just
real.
Yep. Just being himself.
So, I mean, obviously with studying all those training videos and being in it as long as both you and I have been selling, I feel it'd be really beneficial for people watching to kind of hear some of your favorite ways to overcome a couple different problems. So I kind of just want to talk to you about a couple.
Sure.
So like, for example, like one of the big ones is a switchover. I mean, that's always one that you've got to like master. But like, let's say it's deep into the pitch. You've gone over the initial approach, service. You've gone through pricing. You close them, and at the end, she's like, "Hey, I already have a company." What are some of your favorite like things to kind of like loop back on, or kind of like take them back through the process and get the sale?
Yeah. I love switchovers. First off, I think when I first started, I didn't like them because I just didn't know how to sell them. But obviously, if you've been doing this long enough, once you figure it out, like I'd rather run into a switchover than a new customer. But kind of my process might be a little bit different. In the intro, will try and find out quickly if they have a company or not. That way, I just know if I need to give them a switchover pitch or, a new customer pitch. And it qualifies them right off the bat, if they're do-it-yourselfer, they have a company, or they just, don't use anyone. So obviously, like, if they have a company, there's just like a few things you want to figure out, like who it is, how often they're coming out, how long they've been with them. Obviously, like if they just signed up, cancellation fee, like all that stuff. So that's kind of how I would approach it. I just find out all that info in the intro.
Yeah.
And then...
Can I say something on that?
Yeah.
I feel like naturally you're probably really good at disarming them because you've done it for so long.
Yeah.
But making it real and kind of a conversation, how you were saying earlier, in that beginning part of the switchover, I think is key.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times people have this script memorized when I'm practicing with them in the morning meeting. And they're like, I went out today, said exactly what you told me to say, and I'm still getting dusted. And I'm like,
sure.
Yeah, but how'd you ask? And and then I can tell it's just so rigid.
Yeah.
And in that beginning, I think it's really important to be part of the switchover to be like, oh, it's cool. Oh, who takes care of you? Oh, sick. And really just kind of more of a curious, like lighthearted kind of like vibe in the beginning to disarm them to get those questions to land.
Yeah. Yeah. And something I would say for first years or, people who are like, I'm saying like everything you've said and it's still like not, working. It's, got this from Brock Grieve. Shout out Brock Grieve.
Shout out Brock.
But delusional confidence. Literally, that's all it is. Delusional confidence. If you're a first year rookie, and you're putting in all the work, but you're just not seeing results, it's just delusional confidence. You just have to have confidence, in yourself, in your managers, whoever's training you, in the pitch. If you go out, you have delusional confidence, and you just stick to the script. With that delusional confidence, you'll find deals.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I think half the time as a sales rep, we feel like the customer almost understands the process as well as us, but they never do. And I forget that even sometimes. It's year like 11 years ago was like my first time going out and selling, and I'm like they don't, but they can taste your energy. They can feel it's very palpable to them, and I totally agree with that.
Yeah. If you mess up, the customer has no idea. If you miss something that you were supposed to say, they have no idea. But as long as you're confident, you're delusionally confident, the customer feels that, and so with that confidence, you'll make a sale.
Yeah, great dating advice too. Kolton, he's about to tie it down, so we have to.
That's right.
Put that plug out there. Well, cool. I'd love to hear a funny story. I mean, whenever you've been in it as long as you have, I mean, there's usually an arsenal of like this crazy person.
Oh yeah. I've got so many. I don't know. I don't want to scare anyone either.
I gotta keep this G rate.
Yeah. Let's see.
If you want to scare us, you can scare us. If just whatever story you feel like is the best, like that's probably the one we want to hear.
Okay. I don't know if I'll tell the scariest one because it's pretty gnarly, but
like horror movies scary.
Uh, Not like horror movie, just like might scare some people from knocking doors.
Okay,
Scary.
sounds good.
But there's some wackos out there. Anyway, I would say funniest story. This one just came to mind. My first summer, I'm in the Bay Area. I remember it was like one of my like very first, maybe second or third area. I can't remember. But I'm knocking and I probably shouldn't say this. So yeah, I'll leave that part out.
Okay.
I'm knocking and talking to this lady, and she doesn't have a company. I remember she has like, spider web. You could tell like she has bugs, right? And I remember her telling me like, I was like pitching her and I'm like trying to, twist on like spiders, wasps or whatever. And I remember talking to her and she's like, I've never seen like anything. She's like, I don't see this stuff. And I'm just like, come on, like spider webs up here, everyone does this. And then I remember we're like, I kind of like talked her into it, after like some racking and, selling on more like preventative maintenance and all that stuff. And we get to like the billing info and like the contract, and she's like wanting to pull out, and she's like, I don't feel like I need it, And literally like as she says that, this cockroach like goes underneath my legs into her house. And she straight up thought that like I'd planted it. She's like, did you plant that? And I was like, I swear on my life, I did not plant that. And then I just, after that, I was like, see, like we got roaches out here. Like you're going to need to get something. And so I ended up selling her, but I think she talked to her husband and ended up canceling. But that was pretty funny.
Well, dude, that's just heaven coming down and trying to give you a little kiss right there.
Yeah.
That's
yeah. No, it was funny.
That's awesome. Well, I do want to talk about like one-leggers here for a second, and like people that are trying to push off the decision more towards that.
Okay.
So a lot of time when you're on the porch, and you're getting people deep into that process, kind of how you were with that lady, and they're like, hey, I need to talk to somebody. Can I get a card? Or could you come back later? I feel like a lot of first-year reps especially struggle with that last part. What do you do to like when people are kind of giving you that late resistance to wrap up the sale and close it there rather than having to come back? Or like what are some key things you do at the end process?
So yeah, I struggled with that a lot my first summer. And take it with a grain of salt. Some people like carrying cards, some people don't. I think it's totally personal preference. I did my second and third summer. I had the cards, and I was giving them out like candy, and it just became like a crutch. Like if I was kind of like racks deep, and they still just kept giving me the card objection, or like the one-legger. I need to like, can you just come back later? And you end up caving and you give them a card, and then you never end up hearing back from them, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like I learned with my other companies that's just helped me is just pre-overcoming the card objection. So before going into pricing, we usually try and get into the backyard, just because you have if you're at the front porch, it's really easy for them to just shut the door.
Yes.
So before going into pricing, after you've gone over the service, maybe you've seen some stuff, we always try and go into the backyard. That way you have more ammo, they can see more stuff, and then they can't just like shut the door in your face because you're in the backyard. So once I'm in the backyard, and before I go into pricing, I basically just say, hey, look, I just come out here like with the trucks. That's why I'm out here. So anyone that like gets done like while we're here, we just do it cheaper. So they don't give me like cards, pamphlets, or like anything.
I like that a lot. That's cool.
They don't give me cards, pamphlets. So like this isn't like a call in later thing. It's just more expensive to send one truck out later for you guys. But if you get it done while I'm here, it builds urgency, right?
So you pre-frame it.
You pre-frame it. Yep. Pre-overcome the card objection. So like later on, like they'll like try and keep using. Can you just give me a card? And I don't have any, right? I don't have any cards.
Yeah.
This isn't like a call later. This is like a now. Like we're building urgency. Like you got to get it done. Like while my trucks are here, it's gonna get warmer. Like whatever it is. So I would say that would help because I've done the card thing, and some morning meetings get that call, and you're like, heck yeah, like they called me back, right? But the amount of deals that I have gotten now that I probably wouldn't have gotten, that just helped me a ton, just pre-overcoming that card objection.
I love that. And one thing I want to talk about that's big that I also think removes like a third or a fourth of like getting that objection is the movement. Moving them to an issue or a problem or throughout the yard, it disarms them in a lot of ways, and it makes it more how do I put this? It makes it more real for both of you, like for them and you, and it puts you on an even playing field. A lot of times when there's that wall in between the customer and you, and they have the door to be able to just shut it so quickly, it's so easy for them to walk away.
Yep.
Whereas if you're standing in an amp pile on the back, like swing set, it's tough. It's really tough to push them off.
Yeah.
And so that's a small thing that might not be like, I don't want to walk all the way around. But one thing that I think that also does too is it gives your brain time to like calm down, gives their brain time to calm down, and de-escalates a lot of those nerves that you get deep in.
Yep.
Fun. One other one I want to talk with you about, and just because yesterday I got hit up by a bunch of reps about this, like, hey, I couldn't get the credit card, or the method of payment was tough to get. Kind of talk to me on your journey through. I know you've been at a lot of different companies.
Yeah.
What's some things you've learned along the way to like solidifying and get payment?
Yeah. Just, don't look sketchy, don't be sketchy type of thing, right? I mean, obviously, like, we're collecting credit cards at, like, people's doors, so, like, some people are going to get sketched out at it. But if you just, like, downplay it, like, it's 2025, like, we don't do cash, we don't do, people still try and give checks. Like, it's credit or debit, right?
Yeah.
And I always just try and, ask for it, like, nonchalantly, right? Once I get all their, like, billing or personal info, and I'm like, cool. And then, would you rather take care of it, like, credit or debit? And they're like, oh, do I need that now? I'm like, yeah, you just want to grab it really quick. And obviously, like, the, like, few people that you're going to get some pushback on it, right? And it's just, like, just downplay it. Like,
yes.
I'll show them the company reviews. Like, look, like, this is who we are. Been in business for, this many years. These are, like, all the neighbors. I take care of, Stacy, the Johnsons. My truck's, like, going to be here. It's down the street. Give me a shot, We'll do a good job. And if you just downplay it, like, it's 2025. We need a card.
I like what you're saying about the downplaying it, because, like, I feel like a lot of times when reps get in the over-explaining, like, I had one rep yesterday call me being like, well, I said, like, we don't take cards, and then I, like, did da-da-da-da, and then, like, I could tell he wanted, like, some long-winded explanation.
Yeah.
And it all goes back to, like, I don't feel like you were, I forgot how you phrased it, but, like, insanely confident or delusional
confidence
that they'll just go get it.
Yeah.
And they're like dogs. They're reading you. They're barking a little bit, and then you're just like, yeah, just go grab it.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to do it. No, man, like,
just go grab it.
Yeah. And the tone and the confidence in those first two hits with them, that's going to get you 9 out of 10 cards.
Yeah.
And there always is that one person that's going to fight you to the death, and then you can throw in some of those other stuff.
Yep. But, and if you lose it, like, they probably weren't going to give it to you anyway.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Like, go on to the next one. And so, yeah.
Let's talk about cancels really quick.
Sure.
I mean, upfront cancels are something that I think a lot of people that can really, what do you call that? Really, like, throw people off. And,
sure.
obviously there's a ton of things operationally that people always got to do to minimize that or reduce that. But like, what are some things that when you had like a lot of like fall off in the beginning that like, what's some things you did to like mentally combat that if you had cancels coming through the summer?
Yeah. Well, first off, just accept that, cancels are going to happen. Everyone gets them, even like the best of the best reps.
Yeah.
So, you can't control that. So focus on like what you can control. There were times where I noticed like, I was having a little bit more like cancels than normal, and I kind of just realized that like I needed to like just build some more credibility with the customer. And I realized that I was just kind of like, I was either like bulldozing through everything, and it was just like I wasn't like, being myself, personable, asking them all the like questions, getting to know them type of thing, rather than just like trying to rack and close the deal.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've kind of just switched, like, you want a little bit of both. Super confident, and then just be yourself. I feel like if you're just yourself, you're funny, whatever, get to know the person, then they actually feel like you're not just there to like sell them. I feel like that's helped me retain better.
That's big in recruiting too.
Yeah.
I feel like when you're in sales, a lot of times people get so systematic. They'll bring out the Excel sheet, they'll bring out the scripts. This is all the stuff you need to do. What I found is like, in order for me to sell at my highest level, I have to have something funny that went on in my day. I have to have something that like kept me deep or connected to like some good thought, like a book, a podcast, something positive, and then just like good connection with like friends or family, some outside of work.
Yeah.
And I think those things are important things to reconsider throughout the summer, because like we've all been there at the summer where people turn from being humans to like sales robots, and they don't care about people's emotions. They're like they're missing social cues. Like, and the thing is, like, sometimes it is good to like blow past some things, but also to like learning where to push and where to not is an important part. And I think making sure off the doors that you're implementing a lot of those things, it translates really well onto them.
Yep.
I mean, as long as you've knocked two, you've led big teams and whatnot. What are some things that maybe off the doors that you would do that you're like, oh, this dramatically affected my performance when I rolled up and got on them?
Yeah. I would say off the doors, there's so many things. You kind of, you got to treat the job like you're almost like a professional athlete.
Yeah.
100%. If you think about it, like, if you just treat it like, oh, like, I'm just going to go knock doors. I'll go to, just stop at the gas stations, take all the breaks, get home and play video games, like, stay up till 1, 2 in the morning, wake up, 5 minutes before meeting and throw your clothes on. Like, you're probably, if you were talented, like, yeah, maybe you can still sell. But, like, most people, it's probably not going to help you. So, like, just treat it like you're like a professional athlete, Those guys, like, take good care of their bodies. They're always trying to, like, be 1% better.
Well, if you do it like that, it's more comfortable.
Yeah.
Like, that's one thing, like, I've done both. Like, I've definitely done the first path and I've done the second.
Same.
And when I do it right, I feel like when I, like, leading up to the meeting, I'm happier in it. I'm like, there's always hard things you're going through. But, like, when I just kind of, like, ate a Jimmy Dean bowl, rolled up to the meeting, like, barely threw on my shirt, I feel disgusting.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the other thing that's key on that, too, is it's way more enjoyable.
Yeah. Yeah, having that self-discipline, it's only 4 months. You can do it.
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
Yeah, it's a 100-day sacrifice to go and change your stars for the rest of the year.
Yeah. Yep. You'll be so much happier you went, like, 100% rather than, like, regretting at the end of the summer, like, oh, I was super lazy. Like, I could have done way better.
Yeah. So now for some relationship advice.
Okay.
Navigating dating while you're going out and selling. That's something that a lot of people run into. And I actually was talking with a rep just the other day about like, he's like, well, I'm dating this girl and like I'm going out to sell. Like it's tough. Like you got to like juggling both and they're both important.
Yeah.
What have been some things that maybe you've done through the summers that you're like, hey, this is how I juggle both and this is like how I've kept it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, there has to be a healthy balance of both. I think it all just comes up to setting proper expectations to your significant other. Like, hey, these are my goals. This is what I'm going to do. These are the hours that I'm going to work. But I still want to prioritize like our relationship.
Yeah.
I think if you set up the expectations and you guys communicate, you'll set yourself up for way better success than just, not talking about it, them getting frustrated. You're not like, they don't feel like that you're prioritizing them. And I'm super thankful that my fiance Alexa, she's been with me for 2 summers, and she was great. She supported me when I was out knocking, and she knew like that I needed to be dialed in. She wasn't like trying to text me or like send me funny memes, but when I like had my break, like I could call her and we could chat. And then on the weekends we would always go try and like do something or just chill. But you got to prioritize both.
Yeah.
So
that's cool. No, I love that. And as far as like literature you've absorbed or stuff that's like really like changed the game for you, is there anything that you'd recommend? Like sometimes people even have like, oh, this movie was great, or like this, like, is there anything that you'd like recommend in that kind of?
Dude, my like first and second summer, I read, well, I've kind of done a lot of summers, but a lot of audiobooks. It's not for everyone. Sometimes my mornings to the doors of the meetings just like head banging to whatever, some good music,
Lose yourself.
Yep.
Or like
Yeah. Recently it's been a lot of oh my gosh, I just blanked on his name. MGK.
Oh dude, I love Machine Gun Kelly.
Yeah, MGK, dude. Yeah, he's good. He'll get you in the zone.
Yeah.
Anyway, Grant Cardone, I read a lot of his audiobooks my first summer. The Compound Effect.
Great book.
Great book.
Yeah.
That one's good.
Darren Hardy is a good one.
Yep. There's probably the David Goggins. His is good.
Can carry the boats.
Yep. Extreme Ownership is good. There's a lot of good ones.
That's dope.
Yeah.
We'll clip a link in below for all Colton's favorite reads. Well, cool. As far as like, this last year you led a massive team. And kind of like, there's a lot of guys watching this too that are going out and they're going to lead a squad, and it's going to be their first time or second time. What are some things maybe you learned, and what are some things maybe you wish you would have like maybe altered or done a little bit different from leading a big team?
Yeah. Yeah, I've led smaller teams. I've led a big team. We had like 50 reps. Most of them were rookies. Thankfully, like I did have a lot of help that took like some off of my plate, but ultimately a lot of it kind of falls on you, majority of it. I would say biggest things are just like help the first year reps understand that like it's a process. You gotta trust process. The delusional confidence helps a ton. You gotta focus like on yourself, but also helping the team hit their goals. And so I think if you create like a good culture and like a good environment, it helps a ton. Morning meetings, we would always try and like come in, music's playing, vibes are up. Rather than like, I've had those meetings where like you come in, it's just dead serious. You get this like, training, and then you're just like, you're gone. Like I've done those, like it's great. But make it a little bit more vibey. Like play some music when you come in, do some fun things to like break the ice, like tell some fun stories about the day, the weather you're gonna have. Like I remember knocking in Colorado multiple summers, like it's snowing, and like you have to make the best of it. Like, yeah, we could have just sat there and been like, guys, it's snowing, like this is gonna suck. Like everyone kind of already knew that, and so we were just like, we made the best of it. Like, dude, dress warm, guys. We're gonna, do some competitions or whatever. Who can knock the latest? Who can like get in the deepest snow, like going yard, like just stupid stuff like that, right?
Well, and as a leader, when the elements are against you, rain, snow, like even with my technicians, like we have it like when it snows, I know like I'll call the branch manager personally. I'll be like, hey, like check in with everyone individually because you can get through those hard things, but sometimes like that your downline or your people, they just need a little bit more of like a prick in the right direction.
Yeah.
And it on those tough days, it makes a world of a difference.
Yeah.
And so I like a lot of that. And I also like, one thing I like about the morning meeting that you brought up there is, I agree with you. If it's too serious and people almost don't want to be there and it's kind of like this feels like we're going to war.
Yeah.
They don't perform as well. And then if it's too goofy and too fun.
Yeah.
And
there has to be a balance.
Yeah, you have to be in that middle, like, and you have to make it fun. They have to feel like they want to be there enough, but also pretty quick off like once it's over.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot to build in that culture.
Yeah.
And I like where you started, where you were talking about having other people. Like a lot of culture is created by those second year, third year, fourth year guys that are coming out and making sure they're bought in and including them in that process of like, hey man, this is what we're trying to be, this is what we're trying to do. And I feel like those guys, the first follower honestly is typically one of the most important people to ring in as a leader.
Yeah.
So
yeah, setting proper expectations too, like at the beginning of the summer with all the reps, like, hey, like this is a job, like we're here to work. Like if you're late to my meetings, if you're eating breakfast, like, you can be cutthroat in like certain areas, but like we're here to like, we want to also hit our goals, make a lot of money, but like have fun, like while we're doing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, those things helped a ton. And there's something else I was gonna add, but I forgot.
Well, I'm gonna hit you with a couple ending questions, and I want you to. It'll be more. This will be like more of a rapid fire round.
Okay.
But like, I want to hear some of your jokes probably that you hear. like what are some of the jokes that you use on customers that like get them to laugh or get them to like kind of be an icebreaker? And you can do it in whatever part of the pitch.
Yeah.
Or you still cold killer out there, like you.
I mean, some days like I always try and like crack a little joke. Sometimes I just random, dude. It just comes at the time. Obviously, like if they have like a little, like dog, you can joke about like their guard dog. You could joke about like, I don't know, when it's raining. I got this from Brady Jones. Shout out Brady. But
Shout out Brady.
He would just say like, if it's like raining or, the weather's really bad, they just like answer the door and he's like, hey, sorry to bother you. Go through the intro. Should have brought my swimming suit out today. Like, pretty wet out here.
And just making lighthearted stuff like that's huge for your own psyche because it makes you laugh at like uncomfortable situations. Like making humor out of it will get you out of so many tough situations.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like it just like comes naturally. Like there's not just like my like one liner that I always go to. Like I've cracked jokes with customers. Like I've taken selfies and videos with customers. I remember one time like I just gotten done eating like my lunch. I was like segueing back to my area that I was in. I made a sale with a lady. I had my backpack on and I had an apple like in my mouth. And I just pitched her, just sold her. And I was just like, it doesn't like, some people are like, you gotta like look a certain way, like act a certain way, like to an extent, but like if you're just yourself, dude, like people don't care.
Yeah.
Like,
be yourself and read the situation.
Yeah.
No, I love that. Okay, cool. Let's do I guess favorite clothes.
Shout out Represent. I don't know if you've heard of them.
No.
If people who know me know that like I wear their stuff all the time. European brand. It's basically just like a more like low key version of like Nike and like Lulu.
Yeah.
Wearing their like joggers, I think. But yeah, they make like athletic wear. They make like streetwear stuff. It's kind of on the pricier side, but it's what a lot of like what I wear.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's sick. Okay, and just like I guess just to wrap it up, what if we do? What's been something that was like really? Yeah, what's something that's been really tough for you in door to door?
Yeah.
And that just made you better. Like, what's something that you're like, man, that was a really tough time, or a really tough lesson I learned?
I'll share this, and you know, I'll be really vulnerable. I last couple of years, I've actually had a lot of anxiety, and I ended up figuring out I got diagnosed with like I have like OCD, like anxiety, like, and it really affected me like on the doors. To like, yeah, sometimes I would like, you know, I couldn't like get out of my car, or like I was like on the verge of like having panic attacks. You know, I had like a few like on the doors before, and did a lot of therapy, which like helped. And you know, for anyone that's like needing like therapy, or like feeling like they're too cool, like no one's too cool for therapy.
100%.
So yeah, that therapy, like just being able to like be open about like your struggles, like whatever it is, like people are going to be there for you.
Well, and those are the people that succeed the fastest.
Yeah.
Like, I had a kid last year. He was in my office, and like, if he had a problem, he wasn't like the kid that would like sit on it or wait. He would tell me. And I feel like a therapist is the same thing. Like if you have someone to constantly be like, hey, here's the issue, here's the problem, let's get it out there, because then you can fix it and arrange it and stuff like that. And so that's one of the biggest things I would tell anyone is like, no matter what kind of issue it is, learning to voice that and quickly, it's going to help you get through it way faster.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
No, I appreciate you sharing that, brother.
Yeah, for sure.
Honestly, this has been a fun pod.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, we covered a lot of great stuff, and I hope a lot of people tune in and learn from your experience, man. So
yeah. We'll see you out there on the leaderboard.
Diamond Fork Junior High, over and out.